Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night. Whatever it is for you, good something. I woke up this morning thinking about fear and love and the different, like these massive energetic forces that control our lives. And that our lives are basically like some kind of the stomping ground of fear and love, basically. And what is fear? What is love? Like these gigantic forces that are vying for control, vying for a place within us. And of course, we want love, we want freedom, we want to banish all fear. Apart from the fear of stepping in front of a bus or stepping off the ledge of a building, that is a helpful fear. But the kind of fear I'm talking about is the fear that leads us to procrastination, that leads us to addiction, that leads us to drifting and living a life that is below our ideal and without our purpose being front and center. But it's one of those times this morning where I just had this looking at, it's hard, it's difficult to communicate the way I was looking at it, but I was just looking at fear and love, in this kind of hey, what's the deal with you guys sort of way? These energies, these spirits, spiritual forces. You could also maybe call it God and the devil. I think that sort of similar distinctions. But to be an artist, to be a creative that's open, or to live a life of purpose, being fearless, being open creatively, means, at least in my experience, escaping, identifying with where fear primarily resides and springs from, which is the mind or the ego. And the difficulty of this is most of us are firmly rooted in our egos, and we protect our egos at all costs. We think we are our egos. We think our egos are leading us in the right direction, even though we see time and time again that we get led astray and end up in psychic pain, and in procrastination, in doubt, worry, anxiety, fear. It's no fun at all. And then there's the flight, being in a state of anxiety or fight or in flight means that we're not able to access our creative center. So how do we live a life rooted in love? And I think really the launching pad for fear versus love is every morning when we wake up. And just speaking of my own experience, when I wake up, all the worries and concerns and anxieties of the day or of my life are right there, ready to be hey, think of me first thing. What are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about that? And then your phone is right there too, because then that provokes kind of a pain or an uncomfortable feeling, and your phone is there hey, you can pick me up to distract you so you don't have to even think about this or worry about this. And so often then the doom scroll starts straight away, and you're sort of aligning with ego-based, thought-based identity at that point. And at that point, I think I'm doomed to live a life in my head mostly that day. As opposed to waking up and first thing in the morning, understanding, waking up and knowing okay, I'm waking up into this battle between fear and love, between creative expansion, this is on the side of love, creative expansion, creative expression, or the side of procrastination and overthinking about what others are going to think, and I'll do it tomorrow. So how do I do that? Well, for one, so much is down to the power of awareness. So if I have this in my frame of awareness, if I'm aware that I'm in a spiritual war, and that fear and love are both vying for dominion of my soul and mind, as if I was prime real estate, which is what we are. Humans are prime real estate for the forces of fear and love, and they are very much concerned with taking up space in where we have space to give. So, but waking up knowing that this is the name of the game helps a great deal, because right away I know, okay, I need to come into the here and the now and be present. So I tend to do breath work in the morning, first thing or as close to first thing. I usually write first and then do breath work. Today I wrote first and then did breath work. But I'm waking up with this sort of energy of, okay, I want to unify with love. I want to unify with presence. I want to unify with God. I don't think my ego side of my nature is the ultimate reality. I already know that. I'm already in sort of discussions with my internal realm to dismantle that son of a biatch. You know what I mean? So, like, the game is already defined, and that's helpful because I know where my source is coming from. I know that I want to be primarily aligned with love and creative freedom and the enthusiasm and the momentum and the fearlessness to express and expand myself that love allows. So it's as simple as just to, maybe this will be helpful to some, but I wake up, first thing I'm going to do is go into meditation and practice present moment awareness. And then I'm going to, when disturbing thoughts come in, I'm going to view them from on high, which is AKA metacognition, or a less fancy way of saying that would be observing my thoughts and detaching my identity from them, so that I'm not identified as my thoughts. I know my thoughts are not my identity. I know my thoughts are full of principalities and full of backlogs of damaged psychology. I know my thoughts aren't going to lead me to the promised land of creative fulfillment, of dreams fulfillment, of creative expansion and bold creative action. I know my thoughts are the root cause of all my fear. That's a helpful frame. Right there, just even in that frame, knowing that and keeping that sort of front and center goes a long way to allowing yourself to push towards love, which is what we have to do, because without effort, if we don't apply effort and we allow the mind to control everything, fear becomes sort of like gravity, and it's ever expanding. It's sort of, because if you cave into fear and if you cave into the sort of gravity of your ego realm, then life is going to get so uncomfortable that behaviors that take you further in that direction are going to follow suit. And your ability to produce inspired creative action is going to be throttled and hobbled. So yeah, I think that's really the key, is awareness and then observation and then applying effort to push into the light. And effort looks like holding captive every thought, which is, it's something that's in the Bible, hold captive every thought. But there's a reason for that, because our thoughts aren't really our friend, most of the time, to be honest. Our presence is our friend, and in presence, that's where we're actually in the here and now. That's where we sort of lean on faith, and this makes us not only a spiritual warrior, but a creative that is in flow state and expansive. So if you want to, and also a sort of clearer insight into what our purpose really here, it really is here. So yeah, I just woke up with that, thinking about, like, because I think we all oscillate between the two of these realities a lot, to some greater or lesser degree. I mean, I think some people are just locked in fear all the time. They're firmly identified with their ego and don't see any other identity to even choose. But it's the absence of the illusion of who we thought we were. That's the hard part about getting to a presence-based identity, because in order to really house your identity in presence, equates to a kind of ego death, which goes against everything. The ego will kick and scream all day long. He might be kicking and screaming within you now at this message, probably is. This guy's a lunatic. Look at him. He's in a gym. Or whatever it is. But I don't know. I just woke up today thinking about fear and love straight away, and just going like, what's the deal? This is such a strange reality, life on planet Earth, isn't it? It's fascinating. I mean, who made this? What is this? Why are there these two natures? I think most people, if you could tell them they could eliminate fear with the pushing of a button, outside of practical fears, they would obviously jump to that. Do a thought experiment where there is no such thing as fear or procrastination or anxiety about anything, where you are able to just really create and really expand creatively, and not worry about judgment and all this other stuff, because so many people are creatively stuck, and they know they have something inside to give. And the thing about the day and age we're living now, back in the day, it used to be like, well, I don't have a TV show, or I don't have a book deal, or I don't have a record deal, or I don't have whatever it is that can get your voice out there. But these days, we have that. The internet is there, available to anyone. So it's really exemplified that it's I versus I, that the only person standing in my way towards a life of creative fulfillment and creative purpose is myself. And I think that goes for most people. I mean, most people have the means to at least express themselves. If you have a phone, you can do it. So anyway, I guess that's the message. Going for love, really sort of looking at fear and love and their energies directly, instead of sort of off to the side, if you know what I mean. When you look at it directly, it's interesting. So yeah, for love, we must do a little lifting early in the morning. And then once we establish that connection and within ourselves are in a state of presence, it becomes much easier to sort of frame the whole day that way, to continue to ask for help as well. Because the fear will jump on us in the morning, but love we must attract. Love we must lean towards, and then it leans back. Anyway, I hope you found that helpful. If you did, let me know in the comments below how you cultivate love and overcome fear. And don't forget to like, comment, and share, and subscribe. Until next time.